would be
ललित सर म्यूट कर लीजिए। ललित सर,
we will talk first about sanitation, its importance, why it is important, come to how we as faculty members can keep our campus clean and hygienic. Or as a matter of fact, any city, we were usually enter into a city. These are the greetings which we. What is this all about? It is the trash. It is the rubbish of our houses or of. Now, what is cleanliness? They say that cleanliness is next to godliness. But cleanliness is both the abstract state of being clean and free from dirt and the habit of maintaining that state. So there are two things into it. If you dwell into nicely, that we have to of clean. In across only that
सर वॉइस क्लियर नहीं
जी
आ रही
मगर
है।
भाई हाँ
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
हो रही है आपकी।
अच्छा
Sir,
मतलब क्या
your
म्यूट तो
voice
नहीं
is
है
breaking. No, sir, your voice is breaking
नहीं,
a lot. Means there's interrupting. Means
हाँ पीपीटी नहीं पढ़ रही है
ने पीपीटी तो बढ़ नहीं रहा है सर, और आपका वॉइस भी ब्रेक हो रहा है सर।
कर दिया
कुछ देर सुन रहा है, उसके बाद ब्लैंक आ रहा है, उसके बाद
तो
फिर आ
क्या
रहा है।
मोबाइल से पढ़ाना शुरू कर दें
बहुत ही अच्छा रहेगा सर, विदाउट पीपीटी भी चल जाएगा।
हाँ हाँ ठीक 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 विदाउट पीपीटी मोबाइल से हम कर लेते हैं ठीक है ठीक 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 है
Okay, participants, wait. Sir is just rejoining.
just a minute let me try again I don't know why
Okay, sir.
just a minute and let me
आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
स्क्रीन दिख रही है आप लोगों को?
यस सर।
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
फुल स्क्रीन कर लीजिए।
हाँ, अभी कर रहा है। अभी कर रहा है। आप स्क्रीन दिख रही है?
Yes, sir.
जी सर।
Yes, sir.
आवाज भी आ
Yes,
रही है?
sir. Yes, sir.
आ रही है
बिल्कुल सर।
ठीक ठीक ठीक, थैंक यू सो मच। तो फिर से शुरू करें या रीटेक करना पड़ेगा?
सर फिर से शुरू करिए क्योंकि आवाज बड़ी कट रही है आपकी।
जी
सर
जी,
फिर से शुरू कर दीजिए प्लीज।
हाँ, रीटेक रीटेक फिर से। ये किसी को म्यूट करा दीजिए।
रणविजय सर म्यूट कर लीजिए
सर।
आवाज।
हाँ, कहते गाना अपना सुनते रहे, हमें क्या प्रॉब्लम।
सर म्यूट हो गया, चलिए शुरू करिए।
अच्छा, ठीक है। देखिए, I will start from the beginning. See, if you remember, last time when we met, we talked about something which was related to us directly, and that was about our health, if you remember. And it was directly related to us, and it was there to help us. Okay. Today, again, I am going to talk something which is again directly related to us, but it will also help others. And we will be one of the players, actors in helping others. Okay, so I will be talking about waste management. Okay, and this exchange of ideas between us would be divided into two parts. First, I will talk about sanitation, its importance, and then we will discuss about how we as a citizen, we as faculty members can contribute for better environment around us. So if you enter into any city, usually we are greeted by these sites. What are these? These are dumps. These are the wastes which are from our houses or homes. These are the very common sites which we are having. So now, what do you mean by cleanliness? What do you mean by cleanliness? Cleanliness is both cleanliness is both an abstract thing. What happened? You are not able to see the slides?
Sir, it's visible.
दिख रही है
विजिबल सर। सर विजिबल सर, विजिबल।
विजिबल सर।
Okay, okay. So cleanliness is both. Now, I have also logged in from a mobile, so I'm also able to see whether the slides are visible or not. Okay. So cleanliness is both the abstract state of being clean and free from dirt, and the habit of achieving and maintaining that state. Now, if you see, there are two things. First, we have to be clean, free from dirt. And second thing is that we have to maintain that state. It is not something like that, today I am clean and that's over. It's not like this. We have to maintain that state. Now, G,
संतोष सर म्यूट कर लीजिए।
idea of cleanliness or
सॉरी सर।
swachhata, you want to ask something? Do you want to say something?
No, sir,
Now,
please continue.
the idea of cleanliness or swachhta is prevalent in all the civilization and across all times. It concerns not only physical and mental health of human being, but also their spiritual development. And Mahatma Gandhi said that sanitation is more important than independence. Now, what happens if you see uh, most of the religions, they talk about cleanliness. Bible has a ritual. Bible has a ritual which talks about purification. Bhagavad Gita describes it as one of the divine qualities which one must practice. Always should practice. And you know, the word uh, cleanliness, or as a matter of fact, uh, this shauch is from the word, a Sanskrit word, which means to be clean. So all the religions, all the civilization, they talk about cleanliness. It is not something which is new to us. It is not new to us. It has been there for years, and we have, if we want to practice this, there is no religious binding, there is no cultural binding that we should not do it. So it is most of the religions, most of the civilizations, they always talk about cleanliness. Now, what is sanitation? If you see, sanitation is the process of keeping places free from dirt, infection, diseases. And how we can do this? We can do this by removing waste, by keeping the trash and garbage away, by cleaning our streets and washing ourselves with safe and having safe drinking water. So all these things is called as sanitation. So sanitation is the process. Now, why sanitation is important? Sanitation is important because it is important for our health. A good environment is a good economic investment. It is important for social development. It helps the environment also. And most importantly, it is achievable. Now, why sanitation is important? We can take one point at a time. It is important for health. We all know that good sanitation can prevent us from getting diarrhea. And this can prevent other serious diseases. When we practice good sanitation, our family saves money on healthcare and treatment. When we keep ourselves and our surroundings clean, we fall sick less and often more likely to attend our work. So this will improve our social development. When we get rid of waste properly, we help to protect water sources. And it also means that we don't have to smell the disgusting mess all around us. So it helps the environment. most importantly, this sanitation is important because better sanitation is possible. And how it is possible? Because it will start always with me and you. So this is the basic, like if you remember my previous talk, I talked about prevention is better than cure. Today, my tagline would be, yes, sanitation is achievable. Why? Because it is we who have to do. Now, what does poor sanitation cause? Poor sanitation gives many infections that are ideal opportunity to spread, causing disease and illness in the community. Human excreta have been implicated in the transmission of many infectious diseases. Like somebody asked last time when I was talking about, like I gave example of cholera, typhoid, other infectious diseases. He said that, are these the only diseases? No, they are not the only diseases, but they are the most important diseases related to sanitation. So cholera, typhoid, infectious hepatitis, polio, all are because of poor sanitation. Now, more than 200 million people are affected by hookworm infection. What is hookworm? एक कीड़ा होता है जो हमारे अंदर चला जाता है. So what happens? This is a parasite, and the most important way it enters into us is through open field defecation. खुले में शौच. Okay, so this can lead to worm infestation. क्या इससे प्रॉब्लम होगी? अभी बताते हैं आपको. Now, 1 gram of human feces is the stool. 1 gram of feces contains 10 raised to the power 6 viruses. कितना हुआ ये? 10 raised to the power 6 कितना हुआ? Just to check. 10 raised to the power 6 कितना हुआ?
1 million.
1 million, sir.
10 लाख 10 लाख
10 करोड़ सर 10 करोड़
1 million, sir.
हाँ?
10 लाख
1 million, sir. 10 lakh.
बहुत मतलब कहने का
10 लाख
मतलब ये है
10 लाख सर 10 लाख
है ना. 10 लाख वायरसेस कितने में? 1 ग्राम. ये जो फीसीज के 1 ग्राम में 10 लाख वायरसेस. And how many bacteria? 10 raised to the power 5 bacteria. How many parasite cysts? 1000 parasite cysts. Just 1 gram of human feces contains so many of viruses, bacteria, and parasite cysts. Most importantly, the child feces contain more germs than the adults. Okay, so this is something which we'll be using after some time. That's why I have given you the data. Now, what are the disease burden due to poor sanitation? Cholera, diarrheas and dysenteries, typhoid, encyclostomiosis, amoebiasis, roundworm infestation, hepatitis A infection, poliomyelitis. If you see, most of the problem because of poor sanitation leads to infectious diseases. And I don't think any one of us is not knowing about these diseases. Ankylostomiosis, amoebiasis, roundworm infestation. They are these worm infestations. These are the parasites which enter into our body. Now you will ask, what is the problem because of this? Because these are parasites. They take away our nutrients. What does it lead to? It leads to anemia. Anemia means less of hemoglobin inside us. Now, what does this lead to? This anemia will lead to many problems. In children, it can lead to growth retardation, attention deficit, uh, poor immunity. In adults also, the work capacity of an adult will decrease. So we can easily see that not only deaths, they are not only causing deaths, cholera, typhoid, they are not only causing deaths, but those who are not dying, there also they are burdened. Now, this is the burden of poor sanitation. Indirectly, they can also lead to vector-borne diseases. If you remember my previous discussion, I told you a disease can be transmitted by many ways. If you remember, disease can be transmitted by various methods. One of the method is that from a infected person to a healthy person, a disease agent can pass through some arthropods, some insects, and the most common of these insects is mosquito. Now, how it is related to poor sanitation? If you go back to my previous discussion, I talked about 5Ds. In those 5Ds, I had talked about stagnation water. This malaria vector, mosquito, it thrives in that poor sanitation. And what can it lead to? Various diseases. Malaria, dengue, filaria, Japanese encephalitis. Have you heard about these diseases before? I think everybody knows about malaria. Many of us might have suffered from dengue fever, and God forbid, none of us or any of our relatives would have suffered from Japanese encephalitis. What is Japanese encephalitis? Anybody? It is the fever of brain, very much common in eastern UP and Bihar. All this is because of poor sanitation, which leads to thriving of mosquitoes. Then, because of our pollution, we are polluting our natural resources, and we are suffering from many infectious diseases. Now, what is water business? Anybody? What is water business? What do you mean by business, water business? Anybody?
So as is evident from the slide itself,
Hmm.
probably, because there is a dearth of natural fresh water, the water that we
Hmm.
get in the plastic bottles is not
Hmm.
exactly fresh as advertised,
Hmm.
but instead it is quite chemicalized and a mix of, a very unhygienic practices that go into producing and then distributing that water. So as the slide itself says, selling duplicate mineral water and
Hmm.
marketing without the quality mark.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. I was not actually asking a question because when we are online, we don't know whether people are with me or not. Thank you for being with us. Okay. Now, as ma'am wonderfully explained, do you remember, like most of us must be in our late 30s or early 40s, there might be exceptions, like say 20, 25 years back, we never used to be very comfortable buying water. But now what is, I'm not against any mineral water company or something like that. What I am trying to say is that there is lots of duplicity and we don't know what is the quality of water. Even if the quality of water, the company is very good, you know, these water bottles, how they are transported, how they are stored, water is this water is in a plastic, and we'll be talking about that also. All can lead to pollution, and it also is not only polluting the soil but also our rivers. This plastic is going into the water bodies. Now, there is always a ubiquitous fly around us. And, you know, fly is the best indicator of poor sanitation. If you see a fly at any place, you can safely say that this place is having a poor sanitation. And this fly is famous for fecal-oral transmission. These fly sit on the feces. The feces stick on it, and then this fly sit on the food which we might be consuming. And from this, what happens? The bacteria, the viruses, the parasites which were there on the feces, they get lodged on our food. So just try to correlate. I told you 1 gram of feces, human feces, has lakhs of viruses, lakhs of bacteria, and thousands of cysts. And from that feces, that bacteria, viruses enter into our food because of the fly. So this is the importance of fly. And typhoid, cholera, hepatitis, all are mostly or sometimes transmitted through this fly only. So this is a very important indicator of poor sanitation. Then there are some personal problems with us. What is that? Indiscriminate public spitting. One of the causes of spread of tuberculosis in India is spitting. And you know, this tuberculosis, so many people are dying. Every 1 minute, somewhere in the world, one person is dying because of tuberculosis. There are many ways by which tuberculosis is spread, but spitting from an infected person can also lead to spread of this devastating diseases. So it is very important that we should be clear about where to spit and where not to spit. Now, just roughly, how diseases are spread because of poor sanitation and poor personal hygiene. If somebody poops in open, flies feed and lay eggs in it. If we don't wash hands with water and soap after pooping, germs remain on our hands. When flies land on food, or if we touch food with unwashed hands, germs are carried over. And if we eat with germs on, germs enter into our body and we get sick. Now, this is how fecal-oral transmission happens. I gave you two important factors here. One was our personal cleanliness, and the other was environmental cleanliness. Now, if the government is trying to ban open field defecation, is it good or bad?
Very good, sir.
Very good.
Good. It is good. And you know,
Good, sir.
during the last decade or so, we have achieved a very good coverage in reduction in open field defecation. There are only those people who are rigid, they are not using toilets. Otherwise, most of the places, especially in villages, the things have been controlled to a large extent. Now, this is one aspect of open field defecation, that is environmental issue. What can be the other issue? What can be the other issue? This is environment.
Personal health related issues, sir.
Personal health issue. Okay.
Very sir, personal issue.
Pardon, ma'am?
Personal health issues भी हो सकते
Yes,
हैं.
yes. Personal. Anything else?
Sir, the spreading of more contagious diseases.
Okay. Can we just go beyond disease? Any other reason, ma'am? Or sir? The dignity, the privacy, that is equally important. So, not only open field defecation will lead to clean environment, but also enhance the dignity of a person, especially the females. So this is why it is important that we not only try to curb this problem because of environmental issues, but also because of social issues. Okay. Now, what is this slide? Anybody who can just give me describe it?
Sir,
What
I
is
think
this?
it's a contaminated hand that was placed on media on
Yeah.
which the several microbes grew, which came from the hand.
सर ने तो सारा सस्पेंस खत्म कर दिया. Yes, that's the true sir. Actually, what happens? I got this photograph from Twitter, which says that this is a right hand impression of a 6-year-old child who came inside the house after playing, and the mother was a microbiologist, and she took the impression of the hand on a petri dish. Now, if you see all these colorful things which you are seeing, they are not very colorful for our health. They are microbes. They are microbes. If you remember my previous discussion, we had talked about steps of washing our hands. Do you remember? These the steps.
Yes.
Now do we know the importance of washing each and every place where the microbes are? Now this is called as seeing is believing. So by washing our hands with soap and water, we can remove most of these microbes from our hand. Okay. So now we know what is sanitation, why sanitation is important, what are the ill effects of poor sanitation. We all know now. So this means that we have to work to reduce these wastes so that our environment is clean. Okay, so this was first part of our discussion. Now, what is waste? Anything which is unwanted or useless is waste. Any material unused and rejected as worthless or unwanted is a waste. And there are different types of wastes. It can be a solid waste, liquid waste, gaseous waste, animal byproducts, biodegradable waste, chemical or commercial waste, or biomedical waste. So there are different types of waste. So what is solid waste? What is solid waste? It is defined as, what is solid waste? It is defined as non-liquid, non-soluble materials ranging from municipal garbage to industrial wastes that contain complex and sometimes hazardous substances. Now, this solid waste also include garbage, rubbish, demolition products, sewage treatment residue, dead animals, manure, and other discarded material. Per capita, we are generating around 250 grams to 2.5 kilogram per day of solid waste. You can imagine how much waste we are generating. Now, what are the sources of these wastes? Agriculture practices, fisheries, household, commerce and industry, all these things are a source of wastes. Now, this solid waste can be further divided into three. Household waste, also called as municipal waste, industrial waste as hazardous waste, and biomedical waste or hospital waste as infectious waste. Now, what does it mean? What does hazardous waste mean? What do you mean by hazardous?
So
Hmm? What do you mean by hazardous?
which
Dangerous,
is dangerous or risky.
And infectious,
contagious,
contagious, containing infective microbes into us. So basically, we have three types of waste. A household waste, which is rubbish, it is also called as municipal waste, and industrial as well as biomedical waste. So municipal waste mostly consist of household waste, construction and demolition debris, uh, sanitation residues, waste from streets, and with rising urbanization and change in lifestyle and food habits, the amount of municipal waste has been increasing rapidly and its composition is also changing. Now, can any one of us tell how is changing lifestyle and food habits leading to increased household waste? Hmm?
sir, could you please repeat the question?
I just said that rising urbanization and change in lifestyle and food habits is leading to the increase amount of municipal solid waste. So how change in lifestyle and food habits is increasing the solid waste?
So packaged food.
Okay.
So we throw away the wrapping papers or
So because of the packaged food, more of this
solid waste.
waste we are generating. Okay. So what is the changing food habits?
Um, More of ready to eat food because we are all running for work, or
Mhm.
we buy food rather than always trying to prepare it at home. Or
Mhm.
so, or in case if we have a sedentary lifestyle, in case if we have to complete work, we have got to meet a lot of deadlines, then
Mhm.
we don't want to prepare our own food, which is more environmentally sustainable, but we going for home delivered food, packaged food, something
So,
that cannot
what
always be recycled.
what ma'am is trying to say is that one is packaged foods. This is one. Now there are two things here, ma'am. Change in lifestyle and food habits. One change in lifestyle which ma'am said was that because we are overworked, like we are working with deadlines. So this is a change in lifestyle. Yes, this is one change in lifestyle. The other change in lifestyle, can anybody talk about what is the other change in lifestyle which is leading to increased municipal waste? See, most of the things which we are buying now are not open or loose. Like, for example, I don't know how many of us will remember till few years back, all the pulses and rice which we are getting was not packaged. It was all loose, and we used to get it from the market. It is now all packaged. The toiletries which we are using, the size of the toiletries have decreased. Now we have 1 rupee sachet or 2 rupees sachets for our shampoos or this not only shampoos but the what we call it, that potato, like sauces, all these things, and this is all plastic. How many of us are buying a refill for our pen? I think many of us are not buying refills. We are just using use and throw pens. So all this thing is leading to increased waste generation. Similarly, the food habits. Now, not only we are consuming more food, but also the frequency of food is also increased. Like time, now we are munching, and with all this, and we are not cooking it. As ma'am was saying, we are buying it from outside. And again, the waste we are generating, like not only the packaging waste, but we are also wasting our food. And this is also leading to increased solid waste. I hope I'm able to convey my point. Now,
Sir,
yes,
may
yes,
I
ma'am.
just put in something here, just a little bit of information? Sir,
Yeah, ma'am.
some years ago, there had been a lot of government campaigns, TV campaigns, telling the audience that we should not consume grocery items that are so loose because it may contain dust, or they may be adulterated, or they may
Mhm.
just contain anything that is not good for our health.
Mhm.
But obviously, people did not listen. But about a couple of years ago, when the GST got added to anything that is packed all the kirana stores, all the provisional stores started packing up most of the loose materials that were available,
Hmm.
so that the GST could be levied from the buyers.
Hmm.
So is there any solution to this at all?
Actually, ma'am, now, see, packaging is not only related to GST, but packaging increases the value also of a food. है ना? So most of the shopkeepers, what they are doing is now, it's the same pulse or the same spices, and what they do the packaging themselves. And what does it do? It increases the, what do you say, acceptability and credibility of the product. Most of the small outlets, they are doing the same thing now. So this is what is happening. This is what I'm not, see, this is how the waste is getting generated, and nobody now can solve this problem. It is like more of a social issue than a medical issue or health issue now. Okay, so only awareness and other things can decrease it. Now, what is the characterization of the municipal solid waste? Most of the municipal solid waste is paper or paperboard. We have our yard waste, metals, plastics, food waste, and we have glasses. So this was municipal waste. The hazardous waste is industrial waste. So they can be both toxic to humans, animals, as well as plants. In the industrial sector, the major generators of hazardous waste are the metal chemical, paper, pesticides, dye, and rubber goods industries. And direct exposure to chemicals in hazardous waste, such as mercury and cyanide, can be fatal. Then we have hospital waste or biomedical waste. This hospital waste can include sharp waste, pathological waste, pharmaceutical waste, chemical waste, or radioactive waste. And this is not only hazardous, but it can also be infectious. Now, what is the effect of solid waste? Health hazards. If solid wastes are not collected and allowed to accumulate, they may create unsanitary conditions, and this can lead to epidemics. Many diseases like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, jaundice, or gastroenteritis may spread and cause loss of human lives. In addition, if this solid waste is improperly handled, it can be a health hazard for the workers who are in direct contact with the waste. So this was the direct impact on our health. Then we have environmental effect. Solid wastes are not treated properly. What will happen? Decomposition and putrefaction may take place. And we have intolerable odor because of that. So this all, now we know what is solid waste, how it is generated, why it is getting more, and what are the ill effects of this solid waste. Now, the last segment of our talk would be directly related to our campus. We all want our campus to be a Swachh campus, a clean campus. Remember, there's a old American proverb that The environment, we have not inherited it from our forefathers. We have borrowed it from our children. So, what is green campus? We all strive to have our campus green. As per the UGC notification, this is the exact definition of green campus. I have taken from a book, which I have put it in reference also, and most of the talk is from that book only. A green campus is a higher education community with optimum land use, environmental planning, and resource management. So there are three things. It's an higher education community with optimum land use, environmental planning, and resource management. Now, what is that? Improving energy efficiency, conserving resources, enhancing environmental quality, including habitat preservation, healthy living environment, use of renewable energy, and management of wastes and water recycling. Think of anything, everything is there in the definition of green campus. It doesn't stop there. The buildings within the campus should be based on the green building concept to the extent possible. So don't think that green campus just means planting trees. It is total resource management. So this is green campus. Now, what happens? Universities mirror the principles of green institution, and we should endeavor to extend learning beyond the classroom to inculcate and develop responsible attitudes, habits, and lasting commitment to Swachhta, be it at home, campus, or in the wider community. Now, what are the practices which have to be included in making our campuses healthy? Swachh, sanitation and hygiene, waste and water management, green cover, and energy conservation. All these things are important as far as green practices are concerned. Now, what all a higher education institution or university can do? Now, first of all, remember, we have to build consensus. Remember, it's a teamwork. We have to build consensus on need for maintaining clean and green campus. And who are the stakeholders? The students, the faculty, and the staff. So all are the stakeholders, and we have to build a consensus for maintaining a clean and green campus. All the campuses which are being designed now should have a design of specific intervention for making the campus clean and green. And we should follow the international standards and accepted parameters. Now, and then we should have to monitor the performance of the campus in participatory and transparent manner. Now, first of all, we have to ignite the spirit. I know now, for the last so many years, the spirit has been ignited. The vice chancellors, directors, principals, or the deans, they should provide resources for the respective faculty to integrate Swachhta and sustainable development. Develop and launch faculty training programs. Hold seminars on Swachhta. Not only seminars, but field work and demonstration in teaching methods. Now, if I ask, if you see a chief minister or any other minister or head of the state taking a broom in his hand, is it important or it's not important? What do you think? What's your take on it? When we see a photograph of any higher official or a minister taking a broom, what thing comes to your mind?
Sir, there are many political leaders who do that regularly with the commoners. For example, the Prime Minister of Bhutan or even the King of Bhutan. And that's not the only country. There are many other countries that have been following such practices without any kind of social campaigning. So I think they should all do it, and not just for social campaigning, but for the real cause.
Okay, this is one aspect. Anybody else? I got the point, ma'am. Anybody else want to say something?
Sir, they are doing so for political publicity only.
Okay. Again, anybody else? So we have 2 points now.
सर
I
क्योंकि
ask
वो
you,
हमारे रोल मॉडल होते हैं तो उन्हें हम देख के कॉपी करने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं और अपने घर के आसपास वो चीजें कर सकते हैं, इसलिए शायद
this is another view. Okay, so we have got, see, this is the beauty of having an intellectual discussion. See, we have 3 views now. Everybody is trying to put his view. Now, if I ask you a question, again, please remember, I am not here to discuss any politics. I am just discussing waste management. Okay. Just like, if like not 20 years back, if we used to go to a bus station or a hospital, did we ever say that, oh, is this like, or in another way, I like say, like if you go to a railway station now and there is some filth there, the normal reaction of ours is, this is Swachh Bharat. This is how we say, most of us, don't we? Do we say or not? When we now go to some marketplace or some, we say this. But few years back, we were not saying this. Why? Because we thought that marketplaces, bus stations, all these places are doomed to be unsanitary. Now, with these campaigns, at least we are thinking that it is possible that we should have these places clean. Now, this is called as generating needs of a community. It is equally important. I am not saying that is the only thing which we should do. We should only put posters or something like that. But posters, media, publicity is important to ignite the spirit. As somebody told, when we see the head of the state doing something, 2 things happen. We usually think that it's a serious matter. When the matter has been taken by the highest authority, this means that things might change. And as one of the learned speaker participant also said, that this also motivates us. So holding seminars, all these things is equal. This is the stage of behavioral change. And open field defecation, cleanliness, they are more related to our behavior rather than anything else. So from the dean, we have most of the faculty colleges have dean of student affairs. So we work with the counseling team in creating and implementing the orientation for the new students. And we can explain the rules which have to be followed for a Swachh campus. The NSS could be incorporated. We could have a team of all departments. We can have which can look into the overall aspects of the Swachh campus initiative. Then we can also motivate students for smooth conduct of the Swachh campus initiative. Now, we should have a policy. Every campus should have a policy for Swachhta. So, sanitation and hygiene policy. What is that? Maintenance of cleanliness and institutionalization of the monitoring process. Water conservation policy, which includes optimum use of water, reuse of treated water, water saving appliances, and water recycling. Now, what can be the example of optimum use of water? What can be the example of optimum use of water? Anybody? Anybody?
So suppose reducing the wastage of water means using as much as we require only,
Okay.
minimizing the wastage. So I suppose minimizing the wastage of water.
This is one. This is one. Like, how can we minimize, sir?
I mean,
how can we minimize it?
sir, in often we means there is overflow of water.
Mhm.
So if we stop that and means use as much as we require only, so in that case we can step towards conservation of water.
Okay. Anybody who can talk about reuse of treated water?
So using grey water for gardening purposes, like within a campus, if you have green patches, then grey water can be used. Also, the students who use or who drink water, they should be there has to be some kind of a surveillance so that no kind of water gets wasted, or in case if there are plumbing problems, then they should be addressed immediately.
Yeah. These are the things. And how we are wasting water? What is the, if you see, what is the main source of, apart from leakages and all, what is the main source of wastage of water in our homes
So
now?
RO, water
Yeah,
purifier.
RO. Can you know, do you know how much water is being wasted in RO? For a one bottle
Almost
of,
double.
almost double. So can we do anything for this, or any one of us is doing something for this? Some examples,
So
if somebody is doing it.
So we normally use it for our plants or for washing utensils.
So we are using it, ma'am. Hai na?
Yes.
Most of us are doing it, or
Yes.
we are not
Yes,
doing.
sir.
Yes, sir, do it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So please remember, I am not against use of RO, but the amount of water which we are wasting, we should use this water for some other purpose. Hai na? Then rainwater harvesting policy. Most of the institutions now have a rainwater harvesting policy. Now, waste management policy. Remember, we have from the time immemorial, we are having three principles of R for waste management. What is that? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Now we have put two more, that is refuse and regenerate. Reduce, we know that what does reduce mean, that we uh, try to reduce the consumption. Like how can we reduce the consumption? Any good examples for reduce the waste generation? Anybody?
Sir, saying no to plastics.
Saying no to
Suppose.
plastics, easier said than done. How to say no to plastics?
Means
Saying no to
preferring sir biodegradable polymers like say means woven bags and all. Going for
Okay,
that.
okay. Anything else? Ma'am was trying to
say-
say something.
yeah, saying no to packed and canned food, sir.
Okay,
Jute bags in place of plastic.
okay. So what we can do is replace plastic with some other thing. Simple thing is that we can carry our carry bags with us. When we move out from our houses, we always check for two things: whether we have a wallet and whether we have a mobile. We can always also check whether we are carrying some uh, bag with shopping bag or not. By this, we can reduce it. Reuse, we all know that we can reuse our things frequently. And recycle is that the same thing is recycled and it can be used again. What is refuse? What do we mean by refuse? Refuse means that, as Sir was talking about, we say no to plastics. But remember, it is not saying no at a mall when we are charged for that carry bag, 15 rupees. When he say that, do you need a carry bag? It costs 15 rupees. And we politely say that, no, I don't use it. But when we go to our local sabzi wala, we buy onions and potatoes, we say that make it double, make this plastic double because it might tear off. There we are not refusing because we are not charged of anything. It is free of cost. So refuse means refuse in every situation. If you go back to my slide from where I started, our aim is reducing waste sent to landfills to less than 10% of the waste generated. So, by this, by following reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse, and regenerate, we want to, all this will lead to less waste getting generated. We can ban all plastic disposable items from the campus. This could be the first step. Most of the time, we are using serving water bottles in our programs. We can stop that. So this is how this could be the waste management policy at our places. Now, second thing is energy conservation. Energy conservation. Introduction of solar energy and reduction in energy consumption through technologies and management process. Now, you will be happy to know that we at Aligarh Muslim University have added new solar rooftops and we are generating around 6.5 megawatt of energy from our campus. And I have put the snapshot that it's a reference for us that it is one of the largest solar power project among all academic institutions in the country. First of all, we have to reduce the energy consumption by using LED, by switching off the fans, putting the AC at right temperature, somewhere around 24, 25 degrees. Whenever we are leaving our offices, we are switching off the light and these air conditioners. All this has to be done. And we teachers have to be the role models. Okay, this we can do it. As far as solar rooftops are concerned, we need money for it. Then the greening policy. UGC says that growing endemic and endangered species of trees covering at least 1/3 of the land area in the campus. You would be happy to know that in our campus, we have good flora as well as fauna. And I have put if you can see on the right side, top side, I have put an article by our own UGC academic staff director, Dr. Faiza Basi, about what are the flora and fauna in our campus. There is an article on it. So we should grow trees, yes, but endemic and endangered species should be preferred. The student activities, they should be sensitized that when they are doing any cultural program, they should maintain swachhata. They should maintain swachhata because they will practice, and when they will practice, they will be also practicing outside the campus. So if we do this, the universities can act as lung spaces for the city. Now, these are the 10 steps to a Swachh campus as envisaged by UGC. We can start with waste survey. We plan and prepare for the Swachhata. We have to train the faculty. We have to have equipments and logistics. And very importantly, which I will be just dwelling about, is waste segregation. Don't forget those 5 R's, that is refuse, reuse, recycle, regenerate, waste treatment and management. What are the monitoring? We have to have a monitoring process, proper signages, and most importantly, welfare of the sanitation workforce. This is very important because they are the people who are helping us directly in cleaning it. So, an important thing, we have to have segregation of waste. Just go back to my previous talk. There were 3 types of waste, solid waste. One was municipal waste, one was hazardous waste, and the third was infectious waste. If wastes, when handed over to the sanitation workers, they are not segregated, they can mix it up. And all waste can be now infectious waste. This is one aspect. The second aspect is that wastes can be divided into degradable and non-degradable. So if segregation is not done, what will happen? There will be mix-ups and it will be very difficult to manage it. So primary segregation is at the source of generation of waste. We all know about these bins. We all know about these bins, the colored bins. I am using these 3 these three colored bins: green, red, and blue colored. Now, we have, as I told you, there are three different types of waste: wet waste, dry waste, and we have hazardous waste. Now, wet waste means which things can degrade: vegetable peels, fruit peels, rotten fruits and vegetables, leftover food, used tea and tea bags, all these things, coconut fiber, spoiled spices, all these are wet waste. So they have to be put in a separate bin. Then we have dry waste: soap covers, empty shampoo bottles, milk covers, all those packaged things which we are getting from the market, used mop-up cloth, newspaper, cosmetic containers, all these things are dry waste. And then the third one is a hazardous waste: mosquito repellents, medicine covers and syrups bottles, sanitary napkins, condoms, old batteries, broken glasses, ceramics, empty cans of toilet cleaners, our old printer cartridge, rusted iron pieces. All these are hazardous waste. So, at the time of generation, we don't have to mix it. Just a word about sanitary napkins, and very important. It's not that people are doing it here. I'm just giving a general statement. Sanitary napkins don't have to be thrown into open garbage boxes. Even if they have to be thrown, ideally the guideline says that it has to be wrapped in a paper and it should be tightened with some tape or something like that, and then handed over to the sanitary worker. If this is not possible, then it has to be thrown in the same manner in a garbage bin. It should not be thrown directly because it can be a source of infection, and never it has to be flushed. Now, we have another form of e-waste, and these are the CDs, the pen drives, the digital cameras. All these are e-waste. Can anybody tell me how? Okay, we'll talk about it. Now, this wet waste, the waste, especially from the kitchen, these vegetable refuses, food scraps, etc., they can be used for composting by any of the methods. You have to do nothing. Just we should have a pit and we throw all these things into it. And if we add a vermin, that is a worm in it, it will enhance the composting. Very simple, very simple. So in our universities, we can have composting pits around us. And what will happen? This will reduce the waste going to the fields and also give us composts, which can be used for our own purposes. Not only universities, this can be done in our residential areas also. We can have some place in the park if it is available, or in the society where we are living, we can put these things. I can tell you, this is what I personally am doing it at my home. It's a university quarter and I'm doing it. Very less labor and we can have good form of compost. Now, this dry waste, the second type of waste, has to be handed over to the municipal bodies, and they usually either recycle it. Yes.
Arman sir, Arman sir, Arman sir.
Okay. Now, what are we doing for e-waste? What are we doing for e-waste? In our university, we are following extended producer responsibility. Under this EPR, extended producer responsibility, the manufacturers of the computers and other electronics item, they take back end of life products. They charge something and they take it back. So now we are not putting it somewhere. They are, so most of the institutions are following this facility of e-waste disposal. Now, this is how we can handle our waste. First of all, following the 5 R's, then segregating the wet waste and dry waste, and using wet waste for composting. Now, what we have to do is that we students can be given assignment on good sanitation and hygiene practices, water conservation practices, and energy conservation practices. I give you an example. We have water and electricity monitors, not only students, but staff. They check if there is any leakage of water or there is overflow of water when they are filling the overhead tanks. They are checking for the lights are being switched off, the fans are being switched off, and they get prizes for this. It's on like rotation basis. So people are doing it. So it's like every month somebody is a monitor, whether from the staff or from the students. It depends on the place. So we can use the normal days for giving publicity to the sanitation. Like we have World Water Day on 22nd of March, Earth Day, No Plastic Day in July, World Environment Day in June 5. So we can use these days so that people are sensitized and they do something actively. And there have been rankings of universities on the basis of Swachh Campus. So again, this is to have a healthy competition so that people keep their universities and colleges clean. You can see this is our university. This is what we are using to clean our roads. Many of us are using it. The best part is that there is less of dust generation. The dust gets sucked in this machine, and what happens? It reduces the air pollution, and it is also clean way. Then we have awareness campaigns. Then you can see the segregation of waste. We are using the tractors segregation, the personal protection of our workers. This person is not going to, he's not an astronaut, he is going to do a fogging activity. So his personal protection is important. So what methods are important interventions as far as environment is concerned? Number one, creating health awareness, promoting safe water, safe food, and safe environment. Sanitary barriers to be used. Encourage hand washing. We should have community latrines and abolishing public defecation and urinating and spitting. Both the things, defecation, urination, as well as spitting. And don't forget these bins because they are important. And role of citizens and community is must. Stringent enforcement of the law. Funds should be collected and allocated to provide proper sewage systems, public toilets, and garbage disposal across the country. And we should always have brand ambassadors. And these brand ambassadors can be anyone, me and you. We can all be brand ambassadors. So these are my references which I have used for this talk. So I hope by this talk we have something about planning that what we can do for our own houses, our community where we are residing, and of course for the campus where we are working. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.